I once used to ask questions, why me? Why me? But then when I read Man's Search for Meaning, I was like, Grace, you don't even have a right to ask why me when someone like Viktor Frankl could go through a very dissatisfied, torturous life, you know. This episode of the GM-4 Mastermind Podcast is sponsored by Cleveland Homes, where you dream it and they build it. Okay, so I don't remember what it was that triggered me thinking about something, but the quote by Steve Jobs, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. And I was just thinking about a couple of years back, prior to 2023. This was in 2016 in December. I always have this habit of doing my own version of reflection and reevaluation and strategizing, my life. And it suddenly hit me. In my quiet moment, I was like, oh my goodness, Grace, there's more to life than what it is that it is you are now. I mean, there is more. Like, I just had this deep yearning for more. I mean, and I'm grateful for that aha moment, because you never get to that self-awareness if you don't get through the point in your life where you feel like there's more to my life now. I'm more than this.
Living consciously.
Exactly. I started to live consciously, and I was seeking for answers. I wanted remedies. I wanted someone to point me in the direction. So it was one thing for me to realize that, Grace, you're more than this. You seem to be performing below capacity.
True.
I assessed my life and I was taking stock of the talents and the gifts that I have. And in carrying out a personal life audit, I realized that I wasn't exploring,
You weren't stretching yourself.
Yes. And then I asked myself, okay, so Grace, why aren't you stretching yourself? And then, how when you get to that point where you start to belittle yourself, you second guess, you're not sure if you deserve to be who you want to be or who you are aspiring to be. So that was when a call came, and that call was, okay, you've been pondering about this, so it's now time to take action.
Who made the call? What
That
call was
that which you seek is also seeking you. I think we said this in our conversation, when you were talking to us about what GM-4 was, the products and services.
Okay, so the call you're talking about is the call I made to you.
The call you made to me, and that call came at the nick of time. And so
that was 2017.
The call came in 2016 of December, and in 2017 I enrolled in the Mind Gym.
January,
January, I enrolled in the Mind Gym.
Yeah.
And it was something that was really exciting for me, because I was like, fantastic. I have passed through the stages of my self-development. I started by becoming self-aware, which ties into what you said about living consciously, because we don't get to live consciously.
Yeah.
Or do we? Do we realize that we're living consciously, or we are just sleepwalking?
That's the word. I think, was it in Compound Effect where he said the the big problem is not that you are making wrong decisions. The big problem is that you are sleepwalking through life.
And that was what I was doing.
Like, you are probably making decisions, but not consciously. You're just flowing and making conscious and unconscious decisions that you are not really self-aware. Because to live consciously is really to ponder with reality, and which is what. So that's the thing with personal development, true spiritual development, and all, is it challenges that sleepwalking, that just accepting things. You grew up in this family, your parents were going to this church, you were just going to that, you went to this school, so you were just flowing with all that. You never found that time to ask questions, because it takes courage to ask those questions. So, but it happens at some point in life where things happen, and you just, most times with people, is the question is there lurking for them to ask it. But because one thing with questions, you might ask, you are scared of answers, whether you find an answer, whether it will take you into a rabbit hole, and all that. So they skip through it and just look at, okay, what are their friends doing? So it tends to prolong that living unconsciously, keep doing, and you just keep feeling empty, dissatisfied, But you tend to see people who are living boldly, courageously. They are asking questions. They are living consciously. They are asking themselves. They are thinking with their mind. Reading books, pondering questions, things like that.
When you say reading books, I know lots of people who read, but one of the things that really helps individuals who read is that it improves their vocabulary. It helps them have enriching conversations.
The fiction,
and it's about the kind of books you're reading.
Yeah, because
that's another thing. You could have ideas from these books that you can implement. But the difference with my experience with the Mind Gym was that 1 year duration of constantly reading, being in the midst of people, and constantly being accountable to one another, and being safe to make mistakes, and to also express yourself and not being judged was what gave me an alignment to why I had that reflective aha moment in December 2016. And so
continue. I just, what I remember
Yeah.
during then, I remember one of the classes. I think it was a thing that really happened with the mind gym then, which was called the Mastermind, 10x, and the linchpin. You guys were in the linchpin. I think there was a session where you came to present, and you broke down and you started crying. Do you remember that? I still remember it. And everybody just kept, because I think one or two people, different people, had those things happen to them, maybe after reading a particular book, or probably evaluating their journey from when they started to a particular point. So just remember that point where you broke down, and it was like, wow, this journey, looking back where you are now, the possibilities, it just came up. That's why I was laughing.
Okay. Yeah. You're having fun at my expense.
Go.
No wahala. But thanks for the experience, and thanks for reaching out. But you see, I broke down and cried because it wasn't something I could man up to anymore. And I broke down and I cried due to an exposure. Light was shone on something that I was completely clueless and ignorant of. And I'll tell you what that is. I was pointing the finger out there. I was playing the blame game. If it were not for situation A, B, C, D, my life wouldn't have been this way. If I was maybe
born
in one
Dangote's family or something.
Yeah, but it's even beyond that. If I had the opportunities that others had, or if I was born in a family that had certain criteria,
stuff like
but I realized from reading this carefully selected and tailored books that the problem isn't out there. It's in here. It's in you, and you have to realize that you need to sit down with you often and have conversations that you tell yourself the truth. Because the people who are around you will wishy-wash you.
Yeah.
You are the only one that can tell yourself the truth.
Yeah, you always say that. And I think that there was a point where you became, will I call it, is it ferocious? Like you turned to the female David Goggins at some point. And that was not the first year where you did the mind gym. I think that was at the second year. So I remember another point where when you read Man's Search for Meaning. I remember, it was actually an awakening for you, an emotional thing. And then you read Jeff Bezos, and Amazon, the discipline. You saw, because you see this Amazon thing, and it was like, oh, this guy. But when you read it, you could see the habits, the human being, what he did, the pain, the focus. So I started seeing that change in you. But I think when you now read David Goggins' book,
Can't Hurt
Me, you became a different beast. I'd like to use that word. And that, I use it well because you also even applied it to me. So yeah, at that point where you said you need to look in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. You need to, if you're pretending, tell yourself, Victor, you're pretending. If you are not giving your best in life, tell yourself, forget about what you put out to every other person. You understand? But like Goggins will say, look in the mirror, look at yourself, and tell yourself the truth. The word from James Allen in his book, As a Man Thinketh, where he said, a man who does not run away from self-crucifixion will not fail to achieve that which he pursues. And I always say that a lot. Why? What does he mean? He said, if you are willing to look at the truth of your life, the truth, and see how you evaluate it critically. No, not trying to give yourself some sort of leeway. Oh, at least no. Self-crucifixion. Put yourself out there and critically analyze things, because that's the only way you see where you can improve on or get better, or the things you are not doing, or the things which you are running away from. And until you bring that to the fore, to see that, I know that when you see that, your ego will struggle with it. Because when you see the part that, oh, okay, I'm being a bit timid, or I'm not pushing myself out there, I'm not asking enough questions, I'm not reaching out to enough people for this thing I want to do, I'm hiding behind thinking that somebody else would do it for me. So when you see those truths,
I think the reason why we hide is because of our insecurities.
Of course.
But guess what? Your insecurities don't matter. They don't.
And they don't help you through that.
They actually don't help you. So just embrace all of you and do what you have to do.
Know them. You need to know what that is. And that's why really people have issues. Somebody will say something and the other person feels attacked. It's because of those, it's the ego playing that game. That's why even in the book, Ego is the Enemy
by Ryan Holiday.
You have to always, if you are willing to, and that's the word, to be humble, put yourself humbly there, there's a lot you can achieve because you're not too cautious of your ego, your self-importance, all that kind of thing. So
and also for me, like when I started the journey, you used to say something that I have evolved.
You have evolved.
And it's rewarding, or it's a good feeling to know that I am making progress, and I'm still making progress, because this is a consistent life transforming journey. You never get to the point in your life where you say you have attained greatness. Greatness is progressive. It's a continuous journey. And for me, from all that I've learned being a part of the Mind Gym, still a part of the Mind Gym, the Mastermind, is applying those things. When we were talking about, the books, and you mentioned Jeff Bezos and how I picked on his discipline and focus, there was something else I also picked about Jeff, and it's his intention. When you have a great intention, or the right intention, everything will align. It doesn't have to be instant, but when you stay on it, and it's based off of some of the great attributes I've read about this great man, knowing that things don't happen overnight, knowing that you will go through pain on your journey to greatness, but if you stay the course, you will achieve results. And I will share a personal story with you. In August of last month, 31st of July, I decided to embark on a 31-day, 10,000 steps and above, because I realized that I wasn't taking enough steps. And for personal health reasons, I needed to up my physical activity level, because I realized that my work is basically sedentary. You go to the office, you just sit, and at the end of the day, you go to work. If you have to do an assignment outside, but I wasn't doing much of a physical activity per se, except maybe on weekends. But of course, the distractions were there. But this is what has come out of being a part of the Mind Gym. You don't only read books, but you see how successful people live their lives, and you want to emulate them, and you want to, you tell yourself that if these people can do this with their busy schedule, with their insecurities, with their limitations, I can do it.
True.
And I did it. And I held myself accountable. I came up with a strategy. I will not share what the strategy is.
I see you.
But I was posting
on WhatsApp.
WhatsApp status, my steps for the day, and it got to a point where I was now able to build habit. You know what Stephen Covey says? When you do something consistently, it becomes a habit. And habits are things you do without even thinking. Victor, I wake up in the morning and I feel uneasy that I haven't done 10,000 steps or above. Like the benchmark is 10,000. I did my research, and according to your BMI, right, I'm supposed to do a particular number of steps. I'm not going to share that. But I decided to push myself. And when I completed it, I was like, wow, Grace, you did it. Like there were instances where I wanted to quit and give up and be like, I beg, please. But because of a particular strategy I put in place, and because of my living and dead mentors who we've read about in the Mind Gym and the Mastermind, I was like, no, these people have gone through life challenging circumstances, but they push. So great. I don't know the life challenge that you're going through that you cannot take 10,000 steps a day. And I did it. And I did that knowing that no one was coming to save me, which is what David Goggins will always say. David Goggins said he was an expert in having or organizing pity parties. He felt like, okay, he was in an abusive home. His father was very abusive.
He had all the excuses.
Yes. And then the mother was seeing some guy, and he just thought that, oh, the father I wanted in my father was missing, so I can have a father in this guy. But he was disappointed when the guy was supposed to come play basketball or something with him or hang out with him. And then he told himself that, you know what? David.
And he was failing in school too.
Yes, it messed him up.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing how one
decision
or one
event
can mess up your entire life. And it's the same for everyone, me inclusive. Let me share one of my insecurities, which I no longer consider an insecurity, but a gift. I always used to be aspired to be a particular height.
I think that was one of our conversations way back then.
Yes. And I was so upset that my younger ones were much taller than myself. And I never thought I was good enough because of that. And that affected my performance. It affected my confidence. It affected everything I did. And no matter how I tried to push that at the back burner, events, people, situations brought it to the forefront.
True.
And I saw how it was affecting my creativity, my productivity, and my output. And it was until I went through the Mind Gym and the Mastermind that I had to rework that mindset.
Yeah.
One of the books that you shared during the mindset, As a Man Thinketh, So Is He, dealt with the mind. Like, I always used to tell you something, Victor, and I tell people who care to listen. I said, going to the Mind Gym is, to me, what standing in front of the mirror is. Like, when you wear an outfit, you are looking at the mirror to gauge how you look. You appear physically. But the Mind Gym is the mirror to how you appear mentally. Like, it's reflecting to you who you are in here.
True. So you see, you were saying something about books earlier, and there are people who read fiction books. That's also a form of personal development, which is fine. And people read books to show them steps to do certain things. That has its place. But there's something about a book that challenges your mind, your truth, what you think is. And I think those are the gifts. A book that would, I read a particular book at some point, forgot. Even when I read the book Road Less Traveled, I remember when I read it, there's a point I was sweating. I think I almost had a fever, especially when he got to the spiritual part, where he started talking about because it was a bit different from what the whole religion stuff. But you could hear the profoundness of what he was saying, the sense he was making, and I don't think anybody really explained love. I always say that I don't think anybody explains love. I've not read, even when I read relationship books and all, I don't think anybody explains love like how M. Scott Peck did in Road Less Traveled. And he makes love a spiritual thing. And that's why when somebody say, I hear this statement where somebody would make this statement that love is not all that would make a marriage work. It's not enough to. And I will always poke the person. This is semantics now. Clarify what you mean by love. Because most times what people are saying is romance and all that. That's what they call love.
The buzz and the bee.
Yes. But in what love essentially is, love is all you need for everything. To have the great life, to have the great marriage. Because like he said he can't really define it, but he gave something. He said, love is the will to extend yourself for the sake of nurturing yours or another person's spiritual growth. And he broke down. He said, love, first of all, is an act of will. That means it's an effort you make. And so with that definition, you'd realize that I can't say I need love, I need patience. No. Love is the force, is the energy that makes you be more patient. Love is the force that makes you be more disciplined. Love is the force that makes you more courageous. So you understand that love is not equated with, it is love that pushes the envelope.
Absolutely.
So you're somebody you say you love in your marriage, you'll be more patient.
Yeah.
Because you'd extend yourself more.
Yeah.
And so the book shifted my mind about that in marriage to let me know that I have to, even for, the word we call self-love. It's not snapping yourself. No. It's how are you extending effort to make yourself better?
Exactly.
You talked about living consciously.
Yes.
To live consciously is to love yourself.
Yes.
To ask yourself questions, to tell yourself, Victor, I deserve more than this. I know I can do more than this. That's really what self-love is. And me being able to sit down and ask myself, what are the things I need to do to push myself, to evolve myself? That's me loving myself.
Yeah.
To be the best I can be. And I think that's what we're called to do as human beings. You see a child, the child pushes himself to walk by instinct. He will fall, he will do, but love is what is making that child see others are walking. It's part of life. You have to walk. So that's
I think you've said it all, Victor.
Yeah.
You've said it all. And in conclusion or in summary of this amazing conversation, I would like to just say that, you know what? It's brilliant to consume, but it's even amazing and excellent when you apply what you are consuming. It is important to also be deliberate and intentional about what you are consuming.
You have to deliberate, yes.
And then take the bull by the horn and realize that no one will do the work for you.
No one is coming. I think,
but you.
Yes, if you make it a truth for yourself, no one is coming to save me. My problems are my problems.
Yeah, and
I
you have
must
to
deal with them. And I think have a curious mind. Don't just settle to read the easy stuff, the things everybody. Have a curious mind to challenge your mind. Don't be scared, because once your mind shifts, I mean, that's the idea behind the mind gym. Once your mind shifts, I mean, no matter how you feel dissatisfied about life, there are books that would rock you. They will rock you. They will extend you. They would inspire you. And the real meaning of inspire is in spirit. So they'll put you in that state of connecting with your soul, connecting with yourself, to push yourself to be more. Because the more you are, the more you can give to others, the more you can be for others, the more you can be for yourself.
Thank you so much, Victor. Always amazing having conversations with you, especially bordering around the mastermind and the mind gym. And the mastermind and the mind gym is basically an avenue where like minds, people like yourself or myself, coming together to journey, towards improving themselves and growing. And if you are searching for that perfect thing or that perfect avenue to be more, right? And tackle some of the issues that only can, then here is the mastermind extending an arm of invitation and asking you to please come in, and we will give you the detailed info and hold your hand and walk you through this journey of being the best version of yourself. So you're no longer dissatisfied about your life, but satisfied,
I guess people can look forward to hearing you host other people that have been over close to 100 people in the past 6 years. And so they get to share their experiences with everyone.
You said something about having me host.
Yeah.
Why is Grace having to host the GM-4 Mastermind Podcast?
So I think the during the time where you guys did the mastermind, you were the linchpin. I think you were the person who was voted for as the best participating person, peak performance partner. I gave you a book then.
Yes. I was gifted the book as the most sought after accountability partner.
So that's one.
Yeah.
Now another thing is, I would say a lot of people who have come to the mind gym over the period of time has either been referred to by you or by someone who you referred, into the mind gym. So I think you have done quite a lot to push this. You always tell me that, Coach, this thing is too good to keep under.
Yeah, because I saw the impact that it had in my life, and I'm like, how can you have something this amazing and people don't know about it?
Yeah.
Right? Because I was in a place unbeknownst to me, didn't know that this existed, and now I've been exposed to this, and I had this feeling, this hunger, this yearning, this desire to pull out people who were also in the deep.
True.
To come to the light. So that was, I made myself a disciple of Jenna's metaphor.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it was 5 years ago this whole thing came, and I said one day you'll do it. And yeah, so you're the one doing it. So congratulations.